All right, guys, welcome once again to Between Rounds. Today we're talking NCAA wrestling. National Championships coming up in Philadelphia this weekend, and I am here with the one, the only, the misfit, Bryce Meredith.
What's up, guys?
Hey, man, I'm glad you could be here.
Thank you.
So, people probably know this if you're watching. Bryce is a 3-time All-American, 2-time national runner-up, badass wrestler from the University of Wyoming. So, pretty cool to have you here, man.
Yeah, so, I'm excited to be here. I think the NCAA wrestling tournament is by far one of the most fun tournaments to watch, be at. I always say this, I always loved wrestling, but I never was quite a fan of it until I finally went to the NCAA tournament as a, sophomore in high school. And from there, it changes everything. Yeah. So if you maybe don't know much about wrestling or whatever, or you do, this is the most important time to watch. It is the most fun. And get your ass there someday because the environment is insane.
And people just doing it at the highest level, at the most intense. It's crazy. I love wrestling. You know, I didn't start till late. I didn't start watching till late. I wrestled a little bit as a kid, but God, it makes me just wish I had when I see that.
Yeah. Anytime I even see a video of it or this week starts popping up, I'm like, man, I wish I could just go. And I don't really care to go back in time because life just moves on. But that tournament, you do wish you can do that tournament every year because it's pretty special. 3 days. You got to make weight 3 days. You got to win 5 matches on the front side if it goes well for obviously everybody but 2 people, and then one it's not. It doesn't. So it's a bloodbath for sure.
Yeah, it is.
It's a crazy.
Okay, guys, let's get it started with the 125 division. For me, it's a story of 3 guys. Right, Lillidahl has come on strong. Really, he was injured since he came back to injury. He had such a great showing at the Big Tens. Majored Ramos in the Big Ten finals.
Yeah,
and Ramos is another favorite in this 1 and 2. And then Richie Figs is the defending national champion. And his losses, I think he has a bad record, but he has medical forfeits that are most of those losses. So what do you think of that?
Yeah, I think there's a couple weight classes where it's like, if we're talking about the champs, it is kind of those 3. I think it's hard to count people out if they've already done it in the history of their life. You know, like a Matt Ramos, he just has, he's shown that he can turn it on and do it at the national tournament. Richie, same thing, right? And so like when somebody does that, it is pretty hard to completely throw them out, especially if they're not super unhealthy, which Richie might be. So I think his is maybe like a harder pick. But I believe that like it'll be, and the cool thing about 125 is there's a lot of people that in the top 8, it'll get pretty crazy, right? And this happens more, there's at lower weights, it seems to happen a little bit more often, but there's always a couple weight classes where I believe the top 8 can really shake up a lot.
Yeah.
Just the way that the Penn State kid, however you say his last name, Lillidahl, the way he showed up at Big Tens and majored people in the Big Ten finals, it's pretty hard to bet against that. Yeah. And you can always say maybe Matt's just gearing up for NCAAs and wasn't peaking yet, right? Which it's kind of a weird conversation, but sometimes if you have the best Big Ten performance of your life, it's kind of hard to put another that best performance on again.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where we see a little bit of a switch up.
He's so young. Yep. Maybe he's just coming into his own.
Yeah, and obviously the Penn State team is really good at just kind of being pretty nonchalant with that stuff, but he has a lot of people that he can kind of lean on and go to this stuff. But there's always a chance for Ramos to come in, and now that's his peak week, and he's the one that's going to be excited, and he's felt the maybe one of the coolest experiences ever when he pinned Spencer Lee, right? So he might be really digging for that experience again, and he might dig in and get that one. So for the fun of it, and also just because I hung out with Matt Ramos when he was in high school, when he was a little kid, we like freestyle rapped and had a good night. So I'm gonna go with Ramos on this one, just to do it.
He's great.
Yeah,
and he shows up. He wrestles hard. He's a tough kid. I'm really interested to see Lillidahl, and if Figueroa makes it there, which I think he will, have them fight before they get to the finals. I think that is a real test because that Figueroa kid is tough.
Yep.
And he's a gamer too. So Lillidahl's going to have to walk through that fire and beat Ramos in the same tournament. I think he's up to it. Nice. I got Lillidahl over Ramos in the finals.
Let's go.
All right, guys, moving up to 133. Man, this is a tough division. It could be just chaotic in this thing. Like you were talking about with the 125s, or the 120. Did I get that right?
Yeah, 125.
Yeah, 125. The MMA weights and the wrestling weights
Yeah.
sometimes switch.
And
with
high
me.
school throws in.
But when you get up to in these lower weights, the guys are all good and they're competitive and they're so fast. Scores can change so much. You can have some really dynamic matches and have the brackets shake up. So how you seeing this one?
Yeah, I mean, of course, when you look at Drake and Lucas Bird, they're pretty tough guys, right? And Bird won by fall in the Big Ten finals.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
So
And they were 1-1 against each other in the season.
yeah, so sometimes a fall's hard to look at, right? Because it's just like anything. You get kind of caught up in a weird position. Something kind of happens. So sometimes falls aren't really what to look at. It's more just 1-1 that
They're
they've
not
gone.
indicative of a trend.
Yeah. If you got majored or beat 12-0 or something, sometimes that's a little bit more indicative of an ass whooping compared to that. So, but I think there's like even some fun ones that you can look at, like Kai Orion. He's like a number 26 seed, and he's gonna have to run into it. And he was an All-American last year, real tough. Hasn't had the
26?
best year, but he's the 26 seed, and he's gonna kind of start running into Drake Ayala in the second round or whatever. I think that's what it would be. And sometimes when you look at that, you're just like, oh man, is that maybe where something bad happens if he has a weird weight cut and Kai Orion just decides to show up and blow it out of the water. So that could be pretty fun. I'm just going to throw out just a pick just to be provocative, but the kid from Little Rock, Arkansas, they've only had a program for 2 years. He's the number 3 seed.
Yeah.
He's only has like 2 or 3 losses on the year, I believe. I'm just going to throw him out there just because I think it would just be awesome, because obviously the Big Ten's the best at most weights and they do pretty good or whatever, but it's always kind of fun to see somebody go in there and kind of screw up the Big Ten
So who
party.
does he beat? Is it a 3 seed?
Yeah, so his name...
So he'd go against Ayala.
Yep, so he would have to make it to him. And obviously, there's a fight to get there for everybody. But yeah, Nazar Bailey, he's 21-3 as the number 3 seed. So just imagine...
Well, Little Rock has a solid squad in there, too.
Yeah, and just imagine how amazing that'd be for their program being 2 years in or whatever and getting somebody
Getting a national champion.
to the semis either, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just for fun, I'm going with that.
I feel like it's going to be a re-Big Ten. And I don't think I think Bird's great. I really liked watching him and was surprised, honestly, because the Ayala, you know what you're getting. He's a tough kid. He's always going to be there. So when he lost by fall, it was kind of shocking.
Mm-hmm.
Like Lucas Bird got a whole bunch of attention from that. I don't think that happens again. I think Ayala, he's going to beat Nazir Bailey, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a tough, hardcore match. And I think he's going to come through and be the champ.
Yep, yeah. I mean, he's a fan favorite. A lot of people like Ayala and stuff too. So it is hard to go against him. But also getting pinned in the, like we say, obviously things can always go both ways. But getting pinned, it could maybe screw up your confidence a little bit and maybe get you wrestling a little scared or different early in the tournament. And that could, or it means you come out and you just throw caution to the wind. And
he's going to be a dog.
Yep.
I feel like that will motivate.
He seems as somebody
That's
that
what
would.
it seems like.
Yep.
I don't know him, but it feels like he's like, okay, fuck
Yep.
this. I'm going to turn it on and win this thing.
Yeah, he seems to have that kind of personality where he's kind of don't give a shit, so he'll put that on the back burner and show it out.
You know, we didn't, and we kind of talked about this in Penn State's All-Americans. Braden Davis is in this division. He's going to have to fight Bird. If he makes it to that stage.
Yeah, of course.
I'm curious to see what he does. He's had some real ups and down moments in his short career already. Like such a great freshman year, then to not All-American at the tournament, and win the Big Ten's not All-American, and now this year he wrestled back. I think wrestled back well in the Big Tens, and now he's going to have to fight Bird again in this. I'm interested to see, because this is where the 10 All-Americans either lives or dies.
Yep, this is where the one of it. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. Yeah, it's so hard because he had such a good year last year and then it fell apart so badly. But then that was just probably his first time at the national tournament and stuff. And so now it could just become a different explosion for him.
I'm interested to see it.
Yes.
But I got all over Bird, and you got Nasir Bailey over Bird.
Over all of them, I guess.
Over everybody.
Yeah.
All right, that's 133. All right, guys, we're at 141. Man, this is a good division too. It seems like you say that about all of them.
Yeah.
They're all pretty good, I guess, when you get to the
Yeah,
NCAAs.
and of course, I'm the most biased because that was my weight class, and when I was
It's
there,
never been as good.
yeah, yeah, whatever. You guys, no, I'm just joking. But it seems to be more times than not, it's one of those weight classes where it's like a number 7 seed can win it and all this kind of stuff. And that's how it was when I was in school. It got a little bit to like the 1-2s, but then now it kind of seems back to this where, the returning national champion and finalist both lost in the semis at Big Tens, right? And you see Jesse Mendez go down, you see Bo Bartlett go down, you see Brock Hardy come out of not nowhere, but come out and win that tournament and looked great. But if you look at the match, they're so close. It's an 8-9 match, so it's like all those can go up. There's that Von Bauer guy that beat Bo Bartlett.
Yeah.
He's sitting there as like a number 7 or 8 seed, so he can run in there and just screw it all up.
What do you think about that? You think that was a brain fart by Bartlett? Like, not overlooking the guy, because you obviously don't overlook the guy, but for him to, like, that was uncharacteristic.
Yeah, I think sometimes Bo Bartlett wrestles just like clean, right? Like it's all like real clean, and I think maybe it just maybe got a little bit out of hand or a little bit away from him, and then it's like it wasn't like it was a blow up match, but sometimes I think he's like got to get a little bit more like that, like you have to win right now, and it. From, I don't know, watching the finals last year and stuff. And, I mean, Bo Bartlett's amazing. I actually wrestled him when I was training here.
Oh.
Yeah, I went back to Penn State and did a wrestling match with him. He's a real tough kid. Got the dub. But, no, but, like, he's a freshman in college, going. So, But, so, it's, once again, hard to go against number 1 and 2 from last year. They're going to be there. But they just take losses. And this is where the Big Ten curse kind of comes around for people, is because – you don't know if they're going to come and peak at the Nationals or if they're on the downfall,
or they've
because
just gotten beat up all
because
season.
they've wrestled more historically a little bit harder schedule, So, and yeah, I mean, I think it's fun. I want Von Bauer to kind of come out and do well again. I think it'd be fun. And then there's Andrew Alirez, a guy that was an undefeated national champ 2 years ago, that. Is a number 8 seed.
Yeah, I had kind of forgotten about that.
Yep, and so he's pretty damn good.
What side of the bracket is he on? Who would he go against?
He's the number 8 seed, so he's going to run into Brock Hardy in the quarterfinals, right? So that could potentially ruin Brock Hardy's fun, right? Coming off this Big Ten win, and Andrew Alirez, I mean, he's as tough as they come. He seems to be a little bit injured right now, but I still think he only has 1 loss or whatever.
Well, that Kale Hoppel guy too is tough.
Oh yeah,
and I feel like, I don't know, I have him upsetting everybody. And I forgot about Alirez. How did I forget about Alirez?
Yep.
God, what a tough side of the bracket that is.
Yep. So that's where it's like, once again, I'm biased, but I think it's kind of not even a bias. I think this one's going to be a really, really fun one.
Who you got?
Man, I think Andrew Alirez is gonna. I mean, unless he's really injured, he's a tough kid. So I think he has a good chance of coming out on the top half and kind of screwing that up. But I guess because then Jesse Mendez and Bo Bartlett have each other on the other side. So, oh man, who do I got? I don't know. Let's just go with Brock Hardy, just because I liked watching him at the Big Tens. He seems to seems to be having fun. But
he's going to beat Hoppel and Alirez.
I just went against everything I just said, so I don't take that. But I don't know. I just like the way that he was wrestling at the Big Tens. It seemed fun. But if not him, whatever. I'll just go with Alirez. Yeah. I think maybe he spent the last week kind of probably milking his injury, because when you get injured, it hurts really bad up until Nationals. Yeah. And then at Nationals, things go away.
Like, it's okay.
Yep. I had a blown up shoulder, I felt like I felt it all year. At Nationals, I literally didn't even know it was hurt.
That's crazy.
It's just weird and you see people torn out ACLs, can't wrestle at Big Tens. They come out at Nationals, they win.
Yeah.
So I think there's power in the finals.
Yeah, for
the
sure.
final weekend.
I got Bartlett's beaten Mendez twice,
Mm-hmm.
and he looked better. He got kind of bullied by that Vomba guy. It felt like when I watched it, right? Like, you're the wrestling, you've done this for your whole life. I watch and I see how athletes move. That guy kind of took it to him. Like, it felt like he was going to win that match the whole time.
Yep.
That's how I felt. I feel like Bartlett's going to use that. He doesn't have to run into that dude. He's on the other side of the bracket. I think he's got Mendez's, not number, but I think he's going to win. So I got Bartlett over Happel. But I forgot about Alirez. But I think Brock Hardy gets upset in that top half.
Yep.
By either Alirez or Happel. And I think Bartlett wins the national championship.
Yeah. And UNI, they're a good program. Their coach, he does a good job of getting those guys ready and stuff. So Happel, I think, can have a nice little
run to it.
Yep.
All right, that's it. That's it for 141. All right, guys, moving on to 149. I'm saying it every time. This is a tough division. Caleb Henson, Parco, Panero Johnson, Lovett, Shane Van Ness. Like, there's just a murderer around every corner in this bracket.
Yep. Yeah, this one, once again, of course, they're all hard and every pick is wrong and we just kind of bullcrap and everything. But I wrestled with Van Ness when he was a high school kid. He was tough, man. He knew how to wrestle. He was good. And so I believe in his abilities very, very much so. I just don't think he's quite done it when it really mattered and really figured it out. But I still think he always has just the chance to blow through, or not blow through, but get it done.
Yeah.
He was but my pick is Ridge. I think Ridge Lovett is my overall pick. I like how he wrestles. I don't know if this sounds weird, but he just kind of reminds me of myself sometimes. I think he kind of goes out there and he has fun and he understands that it's, and he looks like he's enjoying the process.
Well, he seems to have a knack of winning those close matches too, because he had a bunch of close matches coming in, sudden victory matches.
Yeah, and so like that's, I would say my overall pick is going to be Ridge Lovett. I kind of just want to see him win through it. There's also another kid that I wrestled with. His name's Sammy Alvarez. He's the number 11 seed. He's a kid that he had a couple of really close matches with some of these top guys. He's only lost by a couple points. And he's never been able to like win or bust through things, but he can wrestle and he's really kind of funky and got a weird feel. And he's like I think he's the 11 seed. So I don't know exactly where that puts him in the bracket, but I think he could be somebody that can kind of go in and bust things up.
Yeah.
I don't know what that does for the top picks, but I think it's, just another kid. For people, if you want to put maybe like a weird bracket buster of somebody on there, maybe put Sammy Alvarez. Might not be the best bet, but
where's he wrestle at again?
He wrestles at Ryder now. He was at Rutgers before, just a good kid, and just I'd like.
Well, somebody's busting through.
Somebody has to.
Like it's always tempting to
or busting the backside too, right?
1-2, 1-2.
Yep.
Because those guys are really good. They earned those spots. It's not like it's unexpected for us to pick them, but. Every year there are some flyers that come in there and make some noise.
And honestly, Caleb Henson, he's the number 1 seed, undefeated season from Virginia Tech. The only problem, I just haven't watched him wrestle that much, so it's hard for me to give like a big go-to. But obviously, he's undefeated, and he's number 1 in the country. So that's just my that's my ignorance. I just haven't watched him enough to give it a big one, and maybe that's why I'm more on Ridge Lovett, is because I've just seen him wrestle. I've just watched him in more matches than anybody else. So
I wonder about Kyle Parco moving to Iowa. There's a lot of noise about that Iowa's recruiting class, if you will. And he's had kind of a rough year. Like, it hasn't gone as expected.
Sometimes this is what I believe. When people transfer on their 5th year, I think it's kind of hard. I think it's like you kind of get in like a new program. It might be ran harder or tougher or different. Or you might be a little bit beat up because now you're in your 5th year as a college wrestler, because college wrestling is just kind of rough on bodies. It hasn't seemed to me that it pays off as much as you would want. And these people are getting paid a lot of money to do it, and as they should, because they're really tough. But sometimes I just don't know if maybe the wheels are kind of just starting to slow down a little bit by the time they are, and maybe that's what's going. Because Parco's still very amazing, and I hope that he does really well. We obviously know him. He's came and trained with us. But he's just had a couple matches where, he's gotten beat. So it's like I say, if you're getting majored, it's hard to just say like, oh yeah, now you're gonna turn it up. If you're just getting beat, then it's like, yeah, you can blow through it. So he's just gonna have to really turn it on.
Well, he's gonna get Caleb Henson if he wins a match or two.
Yeah, what's he at? Number 5.
Yeah, he's gonna. It's like, I think the second or third match he'll get Caleb Henson if he wins. Obviously, you got to win to that point. But I'm interested because I really like Kyle. He's our guy. He came here. He's a cool guy. And it's been surprising to see that this year at Iowa hasn't gone like he thought it would go to. That Cannon Webster's a tough kid, too. Van Ness lost to Lovett and Cannon Webster this year. So I'm curious how that goes. You know, Lovett's the Big Ten champ. He lost to Parco. So in the Big Tens, it was like Parco, Van Ness, and Lovett were all kind of on this treadmill
Yeah.
of losing.
Yeah,
to
that's
each
where
other.
that Big Ten, right? Like if you have if at Big Ten in your weight class, if the top 4 guys are the top 4 in the country, it gets messy quick. And
So who do you have winning?
I got Ridge.
You got Ridge. I got Henson over Van Ness.
Nice.
I think Van Ness pulls it off. I think Ridge has had a lot of. I'll say this: he's had a lot of close matches, but that could either speak to how good he is at managing matches and winning, which you like, but it also does put people in range to win those matches.
Very,
one
yeah.
mistake, and he's been kind of doing that a lot. I feel like.
Yep.
But obviously a great wrestler,
Yeah.
great guy.
Yeah.
So I got Henson over Shane Van Ness, and you got Ridge over your guy. Who's the flyer again?
No, not that far. I'm just saying him as a bracket buster, maybe
Right.
making some noise on the front or the back a little bit. But yeah, I'll just say Ridge Lovett. I'm not sure what's going on the front half.
Ridge Lovett. That's the end of 149. Okay, guys, on to 157. Man, it looks like Tyler Kasak to me. You know, who do you think in this one?
Yeah, I mean it's hard to go against him right now. It seems like he jumped to that level of where when the number 1 guy kind of jumps and it gets a little bit like, oh, he seems to be on his level or his own level. It kind of seems like he's done that year. He's been undefeated other than the concussion match, and he just looks like he's wrestling really, really good.
Boy, he's bullied some people, huh?
Yep.
Like, just feel like his willpower is so strong. Like, such a tough kid. They've got Meyer Shapiro on the bottom.
Yeah, so that's like the one that we kind of talked about a little bit at the beginning. But, I mean, he only has 11 matches, which is just, I think he's for sure the clear second guy, offensive-wise and stuff. That guy's got some of the most, some of the best offensive in all of college wrestling right now. You watch videos of him doing stuff. You watch wrestling matches, and he's going out there. He's figuring out a lot of stuff. So I think it's hard to say that he probably won't come up on the second half too. But I would say the only thing that is weird is you only have 11 matches, right? And he's had concussion problems as well, and so. I mean, this sounds, but I will pray it doesn't happen. But, who knows? In the first, second match here in Nationals, people are banging heads differently. Maybe one of the number 1 or number 2 have had concussion problems already this year. Hopefully that does not become an issue, but it could, right? And if you've only wrestled 11 matches because of your head and stuff, there's things that can go very wrong very quickly. And like you said,
Well, it's what you're talking about, that Big Ten grinder, right? The good news is you get lots of good competition. The bad news is you're going to get physically beat up. But where does that balance come in for Meyer? I've heard from and hearing it from you is cool. I've heard that he's the greatest offensive wrestler. Like, he's just crazy good. Mm-hmm. But man, I just can't bet against Kazak.
Yeah, I would not bet against Kazak this year from what I've seen. And like I said, but we just haven't seen that much of Shapiro, however you say it. But
I heard them say Shapiro. So
Shapiro.
If we're messing it up, sorry.
Yeah, it's not Ben Shapiro, it's Shapiro, but who knows?
Sorry, Meyer. If we're messing it up, man, we're rooting for you anyway.
Yeah, I'm illiterate. I didn't go to Cornell, so.
So I got 1 over 2 in this one. Maybe Antrell Taylor comes up and gives Meyer a hard time. He's a little more defensive. Maybe keep it at a lower scoring match. But he seemed a little too conservative to me.
Yeah, I'm trying to even think who could even come in and bust the bracket. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Ja'Cory Teemer's a defending national finalist, and he's an 18 seed.
And if he wins, if they both win, it's Shapiro against Teemer in the second round.
Second round, right? So that's
that could be something.
That's a shitty second round, right? If you're number 2 in the country, you got to wrestle the defending national
champion.
But I mean,
another fifth-year senior.
Yeah, just what we've seen from it. He does look injured. He does look beat up. It doesn't look like he's the same guy. And that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, I think sometimes those fifth-year seniors, they kind of come in and just they kind of get injured and things just don't go as well as you want for 5 years. And that's seems to be happening that way. Ja'Cory Ben Trill, if he can get trilled up and do it or whatever, it would be cool. Like, to just see him have a bad season but then blow it up. But running into Shapiro, who's your second match, I think it's going to be pretty tough.
Yeah. For both of them, that's like, oh, this is my second one?
Yeah.
For goodness sakes. You're setting yourself up for a long wrestle back to get to that
I mean, there's
medal.
just, Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that crazy happened in the bracket. I mean, my senior year, Nick Lee got upset the first or second round, and then the guy that upset him got upset the next round. So then my quarterfinals match, I was wrestling a guy that was not seeded who the match before the guy upset Nick Lee, and then he upset him, and then I'm wrestling him in the quarterfinals. So just it's always remember, man, it is a wild place, and like, yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe it. I thought 100% I was making the bracket in my mind. I go, all right, number 1 seed, who am I wrestling? And it was not even
him.
close.
Yeah.
So
That's funny.
It was.
Well, I mean, that's the cool part about this tournament too, is that underdogs can rise up and take their spots.
Yeah, and I'll just throw it out there. Jared Hill from Wyoming, 13 seed, whatever. Go make a run, buddy.
Cowboys.
Go make a run. We need somebody to make a run.
All
13
right.
seed, let's get it.
13, lucky number 13.
Yep.
All right, I got Tyler Kasak. You got Kasak?
It's hard to go against it.
All right, that's 157. Okay, guys, up to 165. This one seems a little more clear cut, but you never know. But Mitchell Messenbrink is having himself a season.
Yep, and like we're kind of running into that little Penn State mountaintop where you kind of get to those 3-4 weight classes where it seems hard to bet against them. Those guys are together. They're in this room together. They're all pretty much undefeated. You know what I mean? For a couple weight classes.
You start like Van Ness, Kasak, Messenbrink, Haynes, Starachi.
Yep.
Like, good Lord.
Yeah, so it gets a little crazy there. So, I mean, obviously, right now it's really hard to bet against Messenbrink. Seems like he's just like a little annoying gremlin out there on the mat, just scoring on you. Does kind of annoying things. I'm obviously talking more about when he was wrestling Jordan Burroughs and those guys.
Yeah.
But just being like, even that, just being somebody that's like willing to poke the goat and stuff and like not giving a shit and just being annoying.
Well, he believes in himself.
That's like, it's just
so
a clear
much.
sign that he's kind of like in his own world and he's not bowing down to nothing or nobody. And I mean, that doesn't mean anything, but it's hard to bet against him.
Well, it does.
With everything.
If you're in that space mentally, it means you're going to do your best, you know. I saw him wrestle Mantanona in the Big Tens, and Mantanona came after him, like kind of pushed him and was like, he was being Messenbrink, right?
Yep.
Poking the bear. And then that turned around bad, and Messenbrink just mauled him at the end, and that was super impressive to me.
Yep.
Because Mantanona's a great wrestler. Like, for Mitchell to be able to do that, you know, he's beaten everybody. His last loss was to David Carr into NCAAs 2-3 years ago, whatever that was.
Yeah, so it's pretty good.
Got him. I'm excited about the Caliendo Bo Mantanona matchup in whatever that is, somewhere on the bottom bracket.
Yeah. But then, I mean, it is fun that we could talk about, you know, Bear Claw or whatever, because he'll meet Messenbrink in the finals, you know.
Yeah.
And obviously, you would imagine that winning, but when people have wrestled with each other for 4 years, you can kind of level the playing field, even though if somebody is maybe better than you,
really well.
know each other. Just, you know what I mean? There's just weird things that happen when we'll pass, and that might mean Messenbrink pins him in the first period because he's been his big brother.
Yeah.
But it's gone the other way sometimes too, which I'm not putting Bear, but it's always fun to watch people that have had that much history together.
Well, I mean, he was obviously very good, right?
Yeah, he's
recruited to the same school as those guys. But Levi Haynes, Mitchell Messenbrink, it's hard to bust into that lineup. So now he's here. They've been training together for 4 years, all day, all night, all MTV.
Yeah, and you got to go to a different team sometimes, right? Like I always say this. It's funny. When I lost in the finals my sophomore year, I lost to an Oklahoma State guy. So he's he's number 1 in the country, and he's first string. The next year, I lost a close match to his backup the next year. So I was second in the country, but I would have been third string on that team that year. So there's a lot of like weird things to look at when these guys go to Penn State.
They are Cowboys too,
and
though.
stuff. They are Cowboys, yeah. But yeah, like that's what I mean. And then you know the next year I beat them and stuff. So it's they could all just be sitting there going back and forth. Maybe they kind of break off. Messenbrink is going to another level, but who knows? Like there's always a chance that there's this, but.
Well, that does add some drama to a non-drama division.
Yeah.
Or it seems like there's obviously anything can happen, but that Barraclaw Messenbrink thing, I think, will garner a lot of attention
Yeah,
to see what happens
just for fun, see what happens.
and
So
see where Barraclaw is, because that could, like, what is your mindset going into that? Oh, these guys, I'm going to get them back, and then all of a sudden you're putting more weight than you need.
yeah, we don't know what happened behind the scenes.
No.
So there could be some bad blood, which I have no clue, but who knows?
But I got Messenbrink over Caliendo.
Yeah. I'm not betting against Messenbrink right now. That's for sure.
Is he going to win the Hodge?
No, it'll be. I mean, he very easily should or could. I think the whole Gable Stevenson thing is going to maybe get a little bit weird, but
Is that
since
a popularity contest or is it a score thing?
it's popularity.
Oh, okay.
It comes down to a vote. So I think, but since he already has 2 and he hasn't wrestled as much and stuff, I don't know. I'd have to I have to see all their stats lined up.
Do they decide after the tournament?
Yeah, it's like a couple weeks.
Well, I mean, if Gable goes and trucks everybody.
Yep. And that puts a lot of the voting in it too, because I think it's a couple weeks afterwards. So you have like a couple weeks for everybody to kind of dissect it, and then you'd be like, you know what? Maybe this guy actually deserves it, not this guy. So.
Well, Messenbrink's had a heck of a year. So.
Yes, he has.
All right, that does it for 165. Okay, guys, up to 174. Man, Keegan O'Toole and Levi Haynes. Feels like they're just on a collision course for each other.
I'd love it. I mean, those guys are both very good wrestlers. Obviously, we'll probably only be able to see them in the finals if they both make it, which they do have a very good chance of both making it. But it's a match that everybody's going to be very tuned into. Keegan O'Toole is
2-time champion,
amazing
2 times
wrestler.
third place finisher.
Yep.
Like, it doesn't get any more experienced or high level, like pulling through in big moments.
Exactly. Yeah, and I mean, he's had a great career. Everybody that's been watching college wrestling know Keegan O'Toole's a problem, and then, but there's always that Levi Haynes, there's always that PSU guy that can just come in and, just.
Well, he's a 1-time champion, 1-time runner-up. It's not like he hasn't done well.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So, gosh, he lost to Keegan in sudden victory this year. Another one of those, I think, like, is razor-thin kind of matchups.
Yep.
One guy makes a mistake, and it's something you can't get back. Because I think they're both real strategic. They both are match managers, too. Obviously, they're very good at everything.
Yep.
But they can find a way to win those close matches.
Yeah, and Levi Haynes is number 2, so he'll run into Dean Hamidi or whatever from Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
And he's really tough too. I think he only has.
He only lost to Keegan in sudden victory as well.
Yeah, so like he's only lost to the other guy on the front side. So now Levi Haynes has to deal with somebody that he hasn't wrestled this year, or I don't know, maybe they have in the past, but they haven't wrestled.
Not this season.
Yeah, this season, and so that's going to be a really, really fun semis. If they both make it there. Crazy one too is Lucas Brennan. Does he get a wrestle or does he not? I don't know if it's been. Do you know much about this?
No, Chris Brennan's a good friend of mine, and Lucas is his son.
Yeah, so there's been problems with that. Maybe his COVID year, they didn't do it correctly because like one of the years didn't count, but he didn't wrestle that year. So it's like if it doesn't count, you actually had to at least wrestle. But he didn't wrestle that year, so then they say no, you already used your 4 years. So right now it's going to a judge that he might not be able to wrestle.
At this late time?
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I thought I saw that he was not allowed to wrestle.
Well, he's seated in there.
Yeah, but then I thought I heard something today that it still hasn't been decided. But as of right now, he is potentially. What I heard last is he is not wrestling, and they pulled somebody else in for the tournament for him. So that has nothing to do for this for the bracket first, second pick'ems, but just kind of something crazy. Just throw another wrench in.
Well, and think about that kid and his life.
Yes.
What a roller coaster he's on, because man, like that's that Little Rock team.
Yep.
They're doing a great job down there, boy, putting people in.
Yep.
Well, Chris Brennan's a friend of mine. He's an old MMA guy. Fought in the UFC, fought in Pride. He's a badass, and his son's a cool kid. So I'll be rooting for Lucas Brennan to get in there.
Yeah, hopefully he does. But like we said, Keegan O'Toole, Levi Haynes, Dean Hamidi. Those 3 will be fun ones to watch.
Who you got? Who's your pick?
I'm gonna go with O'Toole just because. History has shown that he's pretty damn good, and the 2 times that he lost were close matches to David Carr, I believe, to get third or whoever he lost to. And David Carr is pretty damn good. Just beat an Olympic silver medalist a couple weeks ago. So those guys are, Keegan O'Toole, I think, was a, younger age world champion. I just think he's going to get it done again.
Boy, he could, and he wins those sudden victory matches all the time. I got those two in the finals, and I kind of flip flop back and forth just to be contrary. I'll pick Levi Haynes.
Perfect.
But literally, I think that thing comes down to maybe a sudden victory again, and Hamidi could throw a wrench in it and be in those finals, and the same kind of match between him and Keegan. So I think it's kind of a three-headed monster.
I do too.
But I'll go Haynes just to be on the other side of the coin from him.
Love it.
That's it for that weight class. All right, guys, 184. The story of this one is Carter Starace. I mean, 4-time national champion, going for his 5th. Nobody's ever done that before. Nobody will ever do that again unless there's another unforeseen COVID.
Yeah, hopefully not.
No, we don't wish for that. What are you thinking about?
I mean, I think it's kind of similar to last weight, but not exactly. But there's 3 guys that are running towards the top, right? Obviously, Carter Starace's. It's hard to bet against him. Dude's, going to be a 5-time national champ if he wins. He's always as confident as ever to an insane level. He says some funny stuff, but he truly does believe in himself. Behind the scenes or whatever, you hear Bo, the fact that he won last year after going through the injuries that he went through, like if people knew actually how injured he was and he still won, he said that you'd get even more respect to him.
The thing I think about there, like to be that injured and to still manage to do that is crazy. Like that is a superhuman level, because you know how it is.
Yep.
You've trained injured before, but to go through that tournament with a ripped up knee like that,
yep,
and still manage to do your thing, knowing that everybody's going to attack that leg, anytime they can twist it, they're going to try to. And all's fair in love and war. I'm not even saying that in a bad way.
Totally.
But if I knew you had a bad shoulder, I'm going to try to work on that shoulder, see if I can win the national championship. So for him to be able to manage that injury and win a national championship, man, that's crazy.
Yep. Yeah, so, I mean, history has shown he's obviously pretty damn good, but there are 2 people in this bracket that are pretty damn good, and they've been fun to kind of watch them. Kek Kaizen, still undefeated. He lost to overtime when he wrestled Carter Starace, maybe too, and then obviously the new freshman on the block. Yep, and that kid looks like he's a different breed of a freshman too. And if this is his year that he doesn't win it as a true freshman, there's probably a good chance he can win 3 more. And saying that he only lost 1 to Carter Starace or Kek Kaizen. So kind of like we said, I think there's 3 guys that are running to the top on this one. I'm going with the freshman. Screw it.
I like it. McAnally. So McAnally would beat Kek Kaizen and then beat Starace.
Yeah, this is a fun bet. This is not a money bet by any means.
I just want to make it clear what he's got to get through.
Yeah, he's got to get through it. And like I said, I would. We're putting money down on him, putting $1. So
well, Dustin Plott's in there too from Oklahoma State.
True.
And he's 3-time All-American, 1-time finalist. But he has lost to Kek Kaizen. I don't think he can get through that for some reason.
Yep.
He lost in the finals last year to Kek Kaizen and then twice this season.
And he's got to beat Starace on the top side.
Yeah.
But like we've said, I mean, we've seen Carter have a couple really close matches recently, and it gets tighter and stuff. And as much as he wants to say that it doesn't matter and he'd wrestle all 30 guys in 3 days, and he does all that, and I believe that he believes that and stuff. But there is a pressure that comes above you, on top of you, when you are going to be going for the one and only 5-time national champ of all time. So I don't think the pressure is going to break him by any means. I'm not saying that. But it does cause you to wrestle tighter and whatever. And as we all know, like if you get in a tight match and something weird happens and a ref makes one weird stalling call, things go sour quick. So I'm not saying that Carter's going to lose, but things just always get a little bit closer because, I mean, even in your early matches at the national tournament, some guys, if you're the best in the country, and I'm not talking Carter, I'm just talking in general, they'll kind of lay down for you. They kind of know they're not going to win that match, and they don't. And then some guys, they come out and they're swinging for the damn fences. And I remember, like even in nationals, like a couple of my first 2 matches at Big 12s, and that I had closer matches with some people that I beat worse earlier in the year or whatever, something like that. And you could just tell that they were just going out there because they have a freedom because they know they're probably
They're
not
not
going to win.
expected.
So,
Nothing is.
So it's that's what I mean. Like, and then 3-point takedowns and a bad ref call, everything can turn on its head really, really quickly. So just as much as because of course these last couple weight classes we've kind of had a more clear pick of who, if we had to bet money, we'd probably bet money on. But man, it's that's where things get really, really twisted. Is there's one call that can go sour and it ruins your
Somebody's
dreams.
playing the edge and the ref calls it a certain way. And,
Yep.
I don't know, man. Like when you play
Especially
that
with
close,
the stalling calls now because they're so up for discretion, the ref's discretion, where it's like, is it just action or is it actually a stalling call? And all it takes is one ref to just screw that up pretty bad and things get weird.
And when you do fight that close, when your matches are that close, you're inviting that to happen. Like, I don't know, man. I think about the Patriots football team. They won all these Super Bowls, and they were great. But they also lost a whole bunch because all those games were 3 points.
Yep.
Like less than a touchdown. So you make one mistake, and the game turns. I'm going to go against the grain here. I got Kekheisen upsetting Carter Starachi.
I like it.
Denying the 5-time champion.
Yep, I like it.
Yeah.
And like I said, just for fun, I'm putting the true freshman because that would be one of the most amazing brackets to win as a true freshman.
Can you imagine?
Ever. So
yeah, to beat the fourth, and they're going to be that freshman's going to be as motivated. He got nothing to lose, boy.
Yep.
He's going to go out there flying high.
But if we're betting money, of course, Carter's a hard guy to bet against.
He is, and he's shown toughness. The stuff he showed last year, it's almost insane to bet against him.
Yep.
But just for the sake of having a good time.
Yeah.
Kekaisen's undefeated, defending national champion too. Like he's no slouch, and he's been around. And I got him.
Good pick.
All right. That's it for 84. All right, guys. Almost to the finish line here. We're up to 197. This is an interesting weight
Yeah,
division.
it is interesting.
Because AJ Ferrari hasn't been around for a year. He looked great when he was at Oklahoma State. Won the national championship in kind of dominating fashion. More so his attitude and his confidence than necessarily. Obviously, his wrestling's great. So I don't mean to say that, but just the way he does it.
Yeah.
So what do you think about him being back?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad to see him back, I guess, on the mat. Of course, he's a crazy guy. He's got some funny stuff going on all the time, it seems.
Yeah, he went through a lot to get back here.
Yeah,
too.
he did. So, and obviously, he's still undefeated. He's the defending national champ of when he did wrestle. So it is hard to bet against him. I would say that if I'm betting money, I would almost probably put it on him. But he made fun of me for not being a national champ when we were playing pool once. So
well, then we cannot.
He was giving me a lot of shit. No, it was funny. But there's Stephen Buchanan. Stephen Buchanan started his career at Wyoming, got third place there. Transferred to Oklahoma, got third place there. Transferred to Iowa, only has one loss. So and it's actually crazy. I'd never even really knew him or met him personally, even though he was a Wyoming wrestler. But so I have a bunch of teammates that had a good relationship with him and they love him. So there's always a part of me that I want him to win just because he did go to Wyoming. But then sometimes I'm kind of sad that he didn't do it at Wyoming if he does do it. Because I'd be like, man, that'd be cool that you could have been the first national champ for 60 years at Wyoming. So that one I'm kind of torn on too. But he's a damn good wrestler. Wrestles obviously at Iowa, and he's the number 2 seed. And he's got to go through AJ Ferrari in the semis.
Yeah.
So that's it's a tough match. And if I'm not mistaken, I think our AJ Ferrari, I think he beat him the year that AJ won, and he got third. So, but I could be totally wrong on that. I can't remember. But yeah. Well, yeah, you talk.
I mean, Cardenas had a good tournament. He's going to be interesting. When Mike and I talked about the Big Tens, we kind of went right over Cardenas.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't there, and he was a monster. He did great.
And then he
beat Buchanan in the finals. I feel like he's going to be on one side of the bracket.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a dumb thing to say because it's not easier, but slightly the easier side, right? He doesn't have to go through an AJ Ferrari or whatever. So him being on the number 1 side, he might have a not easier, but a more clear path.
Ferrari and Buchanan for sure. Like that's a tough.
Yeah, that's tough for both
you're
of
earning
those
your
guys.
money at that point. Barr from Penn State has had a really good year.
Yep.
Like he's barely lost to Buchanan and Cardenas. Real close fights.
Yeah.
So I feel
Yeah,
like
that's hard to say, right?
how good, how
You have
healthy
2-3
is
losses, and it's to those two guys.
Yeah.
So it's
if he's healthy, I think he has a chance against anybody. He's fresh, like he believes in himself. Almost that kind of
yep.
AJS. Not in Penn State, it wouldn't fly like that, but that kind of confidence.
Yeah, and it's like we say. I mean, if you're the 3-4 guys of the weight classes before you are going out and getting big wins and pinning people and doing that, that's contagious. So he can get pretty excited maybe just from those wins, and that's where those Penn State guys in the semifinals historically have done a very, very good job. So if he gets to the semifinals and he beats Cardenas, that's we have seen that happen a lot with Penn State guys. So don't think that it couldn't happen again, and Barr sitting right there in the finals waiting.
Well, and I am picking him, but I don't know how good he is with the concussion. Like he was out, or injury, I guess. I'm saying concussion, but I don't know. I think if he's 100% healthy and good to go, that he wins that top bracket. And he faces Ferrari on the bottom, and I think Ferrari wins the national championship.
Yeah. Like I said,
he made fun of you. Never mind. Barr's gonna win.
Barr's winning. I'm taking it all back. I'm going PSU train on this one.
Are you good? Like it?
No, I'll go with Stephen Buchanan just for the sake.
Because he's Wyoming.
Yeah,
boy.
just for the sake. He spent 3 years at Wyoming, so we're sad that he left, but money talks, so I get it.
Yeah. All right, so you got Buchanan.
Yep.
And I got Ferrari. That's it for 197. We're at the last division, and it kind of might be the easiest one
Gable
to talk
Stevenson.
about. I mean, it has to be.
Yeah. I mean, he's shown that he's on another level.
Yeah.
And
it feels like there's Stevenson, and then I don't want to say I don't want to disrespect the guy, but Kirkfleet is Stevenson's going to beat Kirkfleet all the time, it feels like. Kirkfleet's going to beat Hendrickson all the time, it feels like. So, and you throw Colton Schultz in there, like that's another tough, experienced heavyweight. But I just feel like it's Kirkfleet and Stevenson in the finals.
Yep, and I guess I don't know who Owen Trepfin is. Just naturally, I don't watch heavier weights as much and follow it as much. But he's undefeated in the 4 seed from Lehigh Valley.
Yeah, has he faced? Who's he faced?
No, of course, and I mean, of course, he's got to beat Gable on the front half. But, geez, I mean, it's an easy conversation because I just can't imagine Gable losing. But if he was going against maybe somebody else, be a good conversation because 22-0 hasn't lost. Lehigh Valley is a great program, but yeah, and
So I mean, taking the 4 seed as the champ.
No, I can't do that. But also Wyatt Hendrickson, he was an Air Force boy, did his 4 years at the Air Force, went to Oklahoma State. He's like, from the sounds of it, just like a disciplined Air Force kid that works hard, just
Great
a
guy.
stud or whatever. And I mean, honestly, if you go through the entire Air Force Academy, it's not an easy thing. Those guys are held up very high standards throughout their entire college career. I was told as freshmen, you're not allowed to take a nap ever. And thinking about a college wrestling season without taking a nap sounds insane to me.
Yeah.
So just, hats off to him doing that, and then, getting his 5th year at Oklahoma State and with the buzz of David Taylor and those guys, I think that's cool and that's fun, and it's shown he's undefeated.
Well, he's a 3 times fall winner. Like he has the most falls in the country. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a lot of pins.
he has
especially as a heavyweight,
right.
That's intense.
Well, because those guys get a little tired. And,
Yeah.
it's 2-1, and we're good. If somebody escapes, and that's the win.
Yep.
But for him, that means he's always dangerous.
Yes.
Right. Like he's always got the possibility. So I think you got Colton Schultz and Kirkfleet on top, or Colton Schultz and Gable on top, and then you got Kirkfleet and Hendrickson on the bottom.
Yeah.
I see the Big Ten final again, and I think it plays out the same way.
It's a good bet. I'm just going to go with Hendricks and Gable, and Gable will probably do what he does best.
Well, that wraps it up, guys. Thanks for spending some time. Bryce, you're the man.
You're the man, too.
Thanks a lot for being here, man. Just
Enjoy.
listen to you talk about it, your experiences in the tournament. Hockey, like, legend.
Something.
Legend for me, for sure.
Yeah, tried.
And AJ, don't make fun of my boy playing pool. I don't like it. We don't like it. Anyway, thanks for joining us, guys. Hope you enjoyed the tournament. We're certainly looking forward to it, and we'll see you next time.
Bring the band in.